Okay, let's get started. So sit yourself onto your left. So come into a good cross-legged position. Let's have a little wriggle about and just hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest and draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Just spend a few moments listening to the sound of your breath as it enters and as it exits. As you inhale, allow the chest to expand, and as you exhale, allow the chest to deflate. So feel how the air enters your lungs, filling your lungs from the bottom to the top, entering your lungs from the top to the bottom. Bring your hands into Namaste, press the palms firmly together, lengthen from your armpits into your elbows. And then allow your eyes to gently close. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations, feeling the chest expand with the in-breath, allowing the breath to expand with the in-breath. With an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in your heart area as you release to the backs of your hands toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Hold on to your knees, elevate your heart area up to the ceiling, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. And then with an exhalation, draw your abdomen from the left to the right, drawing your belly button to face that right knee and beyond it, turning the abdomen and the ribs and the shoulders And then come back to the centre. So hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the left, drawing your abdomen across, keeping your chest opening up and lifting towards the ceiling. Just observe your resistance and draw your attention beyond it into other areas of the body that present little or no resistance. And then come back to the centre. Just hold onto your knees, lifting up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards, drawing your shoulders down. Just fill in the lungs. Allow the armpit chest region of your chest to expand with the in-breath and to gently contract with the out-breath. Just feel how conscious breathing brings conscious energy into the lungs. And then come off your lift. Sit back on your heels and then come into adhu mukha virasana. Knees apart, feet together. Just observe how your shins make contact with the mat initially. Just wriggle into your inner heels. So drawing the buttock flesh into the inner heels so that the insteps roll out into the little toe side of the foot. So that you make really good connection, if you can, between the seat bones and the heels. Lift up into the chest, presenting the chest up to the skies, gathering the shoulder blades together, opening the chest, taking deep inhalations, allowing the chest to expand with the in-breath, and then come forward with an out-breath. And then bring your forehead down. If your forehead doesn't reach the floor or you lose contact between the seat bones and the heels, to bring the forehead down, then put a block underneath your head. Keep the fingers spread. Spread in the fingers, spread in the palms. Just breathing even deep inhalations and exhalations, feeling the stretch. Consciously breathing into the side ribs. Come up onto your knees, turn your toes under, keep your hands as wide apart as the mat, your feet as wide apart as the mat, and then come up into dog down. And just listening to the breath. Activating your thighs, your kneecaps, pressing the fronts of the legs through to the backs of the legs, pressing the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees. Just focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. Just initiating the body into the pose and into the breath. Step your feet forwards, come up into standing position, and then have your feet as wide apart as your mat with some blocks for your hands for half uttanasana. Bring your feet as wide apart as the mat, have your hands on your hips, wing the elbows back. Taking deep inhalations and exhalations. Tightening your kneecaps, lifting the chest, and then hinging at the hips. Coming forwards, bringing fingertips onto the blocks, lifting the fronts of the thighs up, tightening the kneecaps, turning the fronts of the legs inwards, elevating the seat bones up away from the backs of the thighs, projecting into the front chest. So a straight back and straight legs are the priority here. So give yourself whatever you need. If the blocks are too low, then maybe use the seat of a chair for your hands. But straighten the legs, tighten the kneecaps. If you can go down lower, then do. If you've got a bad back, just stay at the higher lift. Just working your way into lifting the seat bones to projecting the chin and the chest forwards. If you can reach down to the floor, then do. But all the time just being mindful of your body's response to the pose. If you start to bend your knees around your back like this, then you've gone too far. Go back to the blocks. Keep the legs straight. Activating the thighs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards so that you can broaden the backs of the legs, backs of the thighs, and lift the seat bones away from the backs of the thighs, lift the tailbone up to the ceiling. And then scoop the abdomen away from the thighs, towards the diaphragm region, towards the collarbone, towards the chin. If you can reach around your heels, then do. Otherwise, just stay at this stage, keeping the back straight. If you reach around your heels, keep your back straight as well. So drawing the body in through the space between the legs. But just work where your back feels most safe. From here, we're going to walk our hands forwards towards the back of towards the end of the mat. Again, have your hands hip width apart this time. Step your feet back a little. Have your feet hip width apart. And then come back into dog down. Adhu, mukha, swastikasana. Just be in the pose. Feel how the legs and the arms respond to the pose. And just focus on filling the lungs and emptying the lungs. Keep your arms straight, keep your legs straight, and then hinge the hips forwards, come into dog, up, turning the crease of the elbows to face the front, Pushing into the heels, keeping your legs away from the floor, lifting up into the chest, pushing into the heels, lengthening the abdomen to the diaphragm, to the collarbone, to the chin. And then push yourself back up into adhu, mukha, svanasana. Dog down. And then step your feet forwards. And then come up into Tadasana. Just have the inner edge of your feet together, your big toes together, lift up into the chest, turn in the palms all the way out. You have to excuse the video quality. I think the sun is shining through the skylight and it's making it a bit blurry, so just try to listen to the words rather than rely so much on the video. Just listen to the sound of your breath as it enters and as it exits. Feeling that the armpit chest can expand with the inhalation. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet apart. Nice and wide. Turn the left toes in, the right leg and foot all the way out. Bring the chest to face the front. Spread your toes. Turn the legs from the inside out. So the inner thighs rotate towards the outer thighs on both legs. And then reach over and find the shin. Turning the chest up to the ceiling, turning the abdomen up towards the ceiling, stretching up towards the top hand. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just feel where your body is in 3 dimensions. Specifically, feel where the feet are, feel where the front leg buttock bone is, feel where the chest is. And so perhaps your front leg buttock bone is pushing towards the back of the room. Try and squeeze it forwards, turning the thigh from the inside out, and then lifting the chest a little more. Just have a quick look down over your foot. Just make sure that your head is directly over your foot. Keep that back leg firm, tightened at the kneecap. Bring the little toe side of the foot down onto the floor. And then come back to the center. Swap the feet around, turn the right toes in, and the left leg and foot all the way out. And then reach over to the left, turning the chest up to face the ceiling. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just observing how this pose clears out the sinuses. Again, go back to the feet and the seat bones and the chest. Pushing that front leg, buttock bone forwards a little more, turning the thigh to assist it from turning the thigh from the big toe side to the little toe side. Resisting that forward action with the back leg. Turning the abdomen and the chest up to the ceiling. Just have a quick look down as your head directly over your foot. Your So it helps to kind of just clean out the sinuses as well, looking down and then look back up if you can. And then from here we're going to come back to the centre, bring the feet parallel, just lift up into the chest. And then step or jump your feet back together and lift up into the chest. Just observe the energy of the body. Just listening to the breath, listening to the sound of the in-breath and the sound of the out-breath. And just turning the palms all the way out. Just feeling how the in-breath expands the chest from the abdomen, sorry, not from the abdomen, from the diaphragm up to the collarbone. And how the chest relaxes with the out-breath. Just raise your arms up, step your feet hip width apart, hook the thumbs into the crease of the elbows. Turn your toes inwards. I'm just going to show you this sideways. So have your feet as wide, at least as wide apart as your hips. If you've got a bad back, then when you come forwards, just rest, come down half of the way down, bring your elbows onto the back of a chair or onto the tabletop. Otherwise, just come all the way down, just hanging down. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Keeping the legs straight, tightening the kneecaps, activating the thigh muscles. Lifting the thighs from the kneecaps up to the hip. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, lifting the seat bones. Just waking up the body with each inhalation and exhalation. Listening to the breath. So that weird noise is my cat. Hello, Arthur. And then release your hands down to the floor. Bring your hands into your hips and then come up into a standing position, bending your knees on the way up if you need to. And then come down onto your back. And come into supta, baddha konasana. So pulling your knees in toward your feet in towards your seat bones. Just letting your knees fall apart. Push the heels consciously together. Inhale and exhale. Just feel in your lungs. Stretch your arms to the ceiling, interlock your fingers right into the webbing of the hands. And then turn your palms all the way out, squeezing the outer elbows in. And then lengthen your arms along the floor, away from your head. Squeezing the outer elbows in. If there's stiffness in your hips, put blocks underneath your thighs. But just use this pose actively. We're not collapsing into the floor, we're consciously pressing the feet together. Pressing the feet really consciously together, turning the tailbone inwards up towards the ceiling. Drawing the abdomen towards the spine. Lengthening from the hips into the armpits, into the elbows, into the wrists, into the palms. listening to the sound of the breath as it enters and as it exits. And then release your arms. Just swap the interlock of the fingers. Turn the palms of the hands up to the ceiling. And then lengthen your arms away. Just observe how each inhalation is bringing clarity to the brain and clarity to your energy. Keep stamping the feet firmly together. Create compactness in the hips. Turn the tailbone inwards. So by inwards I mean lengthening the tailbone and the sacrum away from the lumbar and turning the tailbone up to the ceiling. Breathing energy. Exhaling power. So when I say exhaling power, using the out breath to exert more focus and energy into the pose. And then release your arms, just rest your hands on your lower ribs for a moment. Just let the body relax into the floor. Just observe how your body is feeling right now. And then draw your knees towards each other. Have the knees together, the feet apart. Just resting out your hips. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then just rock yourself up into a seated position. And then come up into cross legs. So you have to excuse the sounds of licking. If you can hear it, then it's the two cats. They've just decided to come up and wash themselves. So just sit in cross legs. Just come into cross legs, holding onto your knees. And again, working with very specific focus on inhalations and exhalations. Just focusing on allowing the in-breath to expand the chest. Allowing the out-breath to relax the chest. If you've got a bad back, then just stay here, just lifting the chest out of the hips. If you can come forwards without aggravating your back, then lengthen the chin and the chest forwards. Abdomen forwards, chin forwards. Make a couple of fists for your hands and then bring your forehead down. or you can use a block under your hands. Just bring in somewhere that you can connect the forehead to the fist. So the chest feels very different in this position. Chances are your abdomen is less free, but just allow yourself to experience that feeling of the abdomen pressing against the legs. Continue to expand into the upper chest. So this pose just shows you the abdomen's impact on the breath. Just focus your breath into the chest. Pushing your forehead into your fist into your forehead. So Ian, you could always do this in konasana with the legs apart, the legs nice and wide. If it's too strong on your knee to come forward, so you could come forwards this way, and again just have support for your head. Okay, raise your head and then come back to the center. Just come back into cross legs if you've gone into upavista. Lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area up to the ceiling. Just grab yourself a block, bring the block to the right side of the hip, and then you're going to reach underneath the knee with the right hand, bringing that right elbow down onto the floor. Keep your left hand on your hip and just turn the chest to face the ceiling. Make sure that your elbow is directly underneath your shoulder. Push the elbow really consciously into the block, lengthening from the elbow across into the hip, and then turning the abdomen up to the ceiling. Keeping that left seat bone stamping itself down. Reach up and over, keeping that lifted arm straight. Pushing the seat bone down into the floor. Turning the abdomen. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Keeping that left seat bone stamping down into the floor, so you don't allow all of your weight to draw into the right seat bone. Look up and underneath the armpit if you can. And then come back to the center. Just bring the block over to the other side, lift up into the chest, just observing how the body feels after forward bending and the side stretch. Into sukasana. Reach underneath the left knee with the left elbow. Bring the left elbow onto the block, directly underneath your shoulder. Bring your right hand onto your hip and then just draw the abdomen across, lifting up into the chest, pushing that left elbow firmly into the floor so that you can stretch across from that elbow into the right seat bone. Keeping that right seat bone stamping down, raise the upper arm over your head, looking underneath the armpit. Keeping that right seat bone stamping down firmly in order to bring really intense stretch into that left side of the body, into the right side of the body. And then gently come back to the center. Hold onto your knees and lift up into your chest, feeling the chest expanding upwards and outwards with the in-breath. And then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders. Keeping the seat bones evenly positioned. So as you turn, if your weight goes into the right seat bone, readjust the position of the torso between the two hips so that the weight of the seat bones is even. And then come back to the center. Hold onto your knees, lift up into your chest, and then turn to the left. And then come back to the center. And then come down into your back. Just have a bolster for underneath your seat bones. So not underneath the seat bones, sorry, underneath your back. Have a blanket for your, folded blanket for your head. And then we're just going to bring ourselves into supta, baddha, konasana, but with the bolster underneath the back. Just guide yourself back down onto the bolster and then just bring your hands down to the floor, palms facing upwards. And then just spend a little time just focusing on filling the lungs from the bottom to the top. Just observing expansion and relaxation. So the bolster underneath your back just brings openness to the front of your chest. So listen to the sound of the breath. Observing that the in-breath and the out-breath sound different. The sound of the in-breath originates at the nostrils, that the sound of the out-breath originates at the back of the throat. That's as long as you breathe through the nose. Breathe in and out through the mouth, then the sound of the breath will be different. Wherever possible, breathe in and out through the nose. Just observing that sensation of opening the chest with the in-breath and the out-breath. And then push your elbows into the floor. Just push your chest up to the ceiling. Keep your head just in line with your chest as you come up. And then hold onto the big toes, lift up into the heart area. Just again continuing to just focus on the opening of the chest with the in-breath, the closing of the chest with the out-breath. And then bring your knees together, just stretch your legs away. And then just move your bolster from underneath your knees. And then just place the folded blanket for your head. Make sure that it's evenly folded. And then come down onto your back. So we're going to run a couple of minutes over. I hope that's okay. If not, then just be in shavasana for a moment or two. And then just bring yourself out. Otherwise, just release into the floor. Just feel that you are in a really good straight line along the floor. Adjusting if you are not feeling even. Just breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. So the first stage of Ujjayi pranayama is to become observant of the breath, to listen to your breath as it enters and as it exits. Just to focus on allowing the body into the floor. If there are any areas of discomfort, then consciously direct your out-breath into that region. As you allow the body to relax into the floor, allow the body also to become heavy. Because out of heaviness comes a sensation of energetic lightness that radiates from the bones and into the muscles, and the organs. Using your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of energetic lightness down into the toes, into the fingers, and up into the top of the head. And then when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers. And then bend your knees, bring your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just a gentle massage on the spine. And then roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then stretch out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Just a final cross legs with your hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift. Bring your hands into the masti, close your eyes, draw your breath down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, clean energy that the extensions and the focused breathing bring to the body and the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down towards your knees, palms facing upwards, connecting the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb. Just a gesture of wisdom and peacefulness that we can carry into our day. And then raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open. And the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. So hopefully you feel as though you have really lifted your energy, brought focus into your head. So I was feeling jet lagged, but now I feel a little more focused and alive. So hopefully you do too. Thank you very much for joining me.